Hello, VIPs in the house. How's it going? I don't know why I say that every single time. I noticed that. Well, we're in the house. That's what it is. Oh, who's back there? Who's hanging out back there? Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Happy Archangel Camille Day. May all injustices be made just and may all wrongs be made right. Oh my goodness gracious. So excited to be able to share this with you all. And I want to share Neuro Plasticity. So I went through an incredible 3-day training with David Grand with phase 3 Brainspotting over the weekend. It was bilingual, and so it was really neat. It was based in Spain. I think I was one of 7 or 8 English-speaking people there, and so I still have this in my head where I'm waiting for a Spanish translation of stuff, actually. And I started writing Spanish in my journaling the last couple days, and so cool. I love it. I love it. So just coming off of that, and also have been reading a ton of brain books, of course, and all of it coming together. So with that, just looking at neuroplasticity. So I have been doing a lot of research with neuroplasticity, and what's interesting is with the brain, I think it was all the way up until the 60s, perhaps 70s, maybe early 80s. I'll have to look. I'm reading like 6 books all at once. So I'm like, okay, when was it? Hi, Shannon. And so what is interesting, oh, don't close your eyes when you drive. Okay. So what is interesting is that, for the longest time they thought that the brain was static, or, you learned as much as you possibly learned, up to a certain age, and then, your brain was what it was, and then potentially there's this decline. So, gosh, I'm trying to think, it was in the 60s or 70s, but there was a researcher that came forward, and, it was actually pretty controversial that he came forward and said, actually, the brain is neuroplastic, and that it is malleable, it is able to change. And he was shot down quite a bit for it. Took a long time for him to get any research out there, because people just weren't taking him up on the research. It would have blasted all the rest of the years upon years of other research and that kind of thing. And first of all, I think I was really struck by his persistence. Like, this information had to get out, even to the point that he did some research in a lab. And he started gaining ground and that kind of thing. And what happened was he started research in a lab. He had lab technicians and whatnot. And one of the lab technicians was actually kind of like a spy or a rat, not a literal rat, but and ostracized him and made up lies about him. And so this man lost everything. I gotta look him up again. I'm like, oh, wherever you are. I hope the name comes to me, and I'll drop it in for you guys. So anyway, but I was really struck, first of all, by his persistence and just needing to get this information out, and eventually it has, and just how incredible, this information is to have out there. I think eventually this is the same guy. I've been reading too many books, but I believe he opened up a clinic to help people who had a stroke, and then he used the neuroplastic methods to be able to help them to regain function. So anyway, neuroplasticity has been on my mind a lot, and just how well our brain is able to change. And so also I'm reading a book by Dr. Shapiro about that our minds are geared toward negativity, like it just is, more than likely because we're trying to stay safe, we're trying to, kind of that fight or flight, we're trying to fix, and so it's just geared for that negativity because it's trying to fix, it's trying, So anyway, what is interesting is that we have capability of being able to change that and change those neural pathways, and it might take some extra work. And so what I loved about how she termed it, she said that this is our brain is kind of the main control, and the brain needs an assistant or a technician to say, hey, this is the time to think positive, or this is the time to kind of reroute those neural pathways. So what is interesting is that as soon as I got that in my head, there's just been so much solidity, especially with doing a 3-day training. There's a lot of neural pathways that are shifting for me right now. But anyway, what's interesting is that it is, our brains are neuroplastic. So we can do anything, say anything, be anything, and there are so many possibilities. It's limitless, right? And so as soon as I recognized there was just the neuroplasticity concept has been dropping into these recesses of my brain, and new synaptic connections are forming. And so with that, what is interesting is that I'm witnessing a lot of my old sports injuries and that kind of thing starting to kind of lose their pain, lose their trigger, lose their muscle tension in a good way. So I'm like, okay, so wait, if the brain is neuroplastic, then our bodies also have potential to be to heal and to be malleable as well, because the brain talks to the body and the body talks to the brain. So it's really interesting because I've just been kind of like, okay, like if I do feel a twitch or a muscle tension or something like that, I'm like, remember, the brain is plastic. The brain has that neuroplasticity. I keep saying plastic, but it's more than that. It's malleable and it's changeable, and so it's adaptable. And so I've been doing that, and I feel like anytime that you're maybe in a thought spiral or you're thinking one thing, or I don't know if this is going to happen, or is this going to happen, or anything like that, just really recognize, like, tell yourself, my brain has that neuroplasticity. It can change. And with that too, taking that a step further into manifestation, into being able to create your life and create exactly what you want to happen in your life, with that understanding that the brain has that neuroplasticity, and also understanding that we're creating our life through our brain, essentially, right? So chew on that. Let me know what you think. I'm loving it. Hi, Christine. Good to see you guys. Okay, have a good one. Talk to you later.